Welcome back to LearnPianoLive.com. My name is Jamin, and as you can tell from the countdown clock, the lesson is about to get started. In case you're new with us, there's a few things I'd like to show you to help you throughout the lesson. So this lesson is about reharmonization. That means we're going to take an existing song and we're going to find new chords to play over the same melody. Now, that means that you're probably going to need to already know about chords and keys and probably intervals, and probably have already several songs that you can play well enough that they actually sound like the song. But even if you can't do that, you might pick up some interesting theory bits along the way. So feel free to join us. The goal, though, is not this song. It's not about the song that we're working on. It's really about taking the concepts you like, the reharmonizations, the substitutions that you like from this lesson, and then applying them to other songs that you already know how to play. These lessons are always guided and shaped by your questions, and if you're live with us today, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One is in the public live chat, and the other is the Ask Jamin a Question button, where you can ask me a question privately, and I won't share your identity in case you're afraid that your question is stupid. But it's not. If you're in the archives, though, then just open up the survey. At the end of that, there's a place where you can ask your question. I will say I frequently get questions from students in the archives watching a lesson from 6 months ago, and I have no idea what they're talking about. So please try to be as specific as possible. If you're watching this at LearnPianoLive.com, there should be a PDF and an MP3 button right next to this video. The PDF will often have additional video links inside, so you can get more in-depth instruction on each of the topics. And if you're the kind of person who likes to print out the PDF so you can make the same notes on your physical version as I'm making during the lesson, now would be the time to do that. The MP3 is just a play-along track so you can practice more after the lesson. In traditional lessons, a teacher is going to actually present some new concept for maybe 5 or 10 minutes every couple weeks. The rest of the time is going to be spent applying and refining those concepts. Well, here I'm spouting off hours of new information every week, so it's totally unreasonable to expect you to actually absorb all of that. Instead, the goal of these live lessons is for you to find some little nugget of something that makes sense, but is a bit of a challenge, and for you to go practice it, because practice is where all the improvement's going to happen. So don't feel bad if you have to leave the live lesson when you find that little thing that you're going to practice. And of course, if I'm going too fast, you can always rewind the live lessons or replay in the archives as much as you want. If these live lessons start feeling random or meandering, it's because they are, on purpose. So if you're the kind of person who wants classical training with a step-by-step method, then you're going to want to check out Kloppel Academy on the website. It's included in your live lesson subscription, so you can do both or either. And the upper levels are seriously hard work, but it's going to take you all the way from ground zero all the way up to being ready to enter any major music college as a piano major in classical or jazz. And thankfully, I think that's about all we need to cover before the lesson. So if you'd stick around afterwards and fill out the survey, I would love your feedback. But for now, let's have some fun and make some music.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Cool. That was different. That was weird. Whatever. Today we're reharming the song Lean On Me, but before we get to that, let me introduce you to the incomparable Kendra, who's actually singing your play-along track today.
Guess what, Jamin? I have been reading a book called Empire of the Vampire.
I believe you. That sounds exactly like a book like you would read.
It's so good.
Okay.
It's excellent. Maybe be 18 before you read it, but it's very good because there's violence and stuff. But it's a really good book.
I feel like I have the location and the main character so far. It's about an empire of a vampire.
Sure. I mean, it's a little more complicated, but yes, that's the gist of it.
That's good.
It's really good.
A good author then. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And I thought that it was like a teen book, and it was not. So but it's very good.
A vampire book that's not a teen. I don't know how the world works anymore. Okay.
Well, all the characters are like older for most of the book. So like in a young adult book, they'd be like 15 to 18ish, and the character's like 35.
I think this is what it's like to get old. Is that all the stuff that used to be for kids? All the kids grow up and they still like the same stuff, and you're like, that's for kids, and they're like, yeah, but we're still alive, so get out of the way, old man. I think you're watching that in real time. And me too. That's terrifying. Well, let's play some piano. That'll be uplifting. We need to start with actually playing the song first. That was the lesson last week. We did the tutorial on how to get through the notes and play this thing. And play it the right way. So today we're going to play it the messed up way. That's the goal. So if you can't play the song already, go back to the tutorial, practice up the song so you're ready to play it the normal way so we can now mess with it a whole lot. If I play it the normal way along with the track that you have, which is just Kendra's vocals, so we can mess with the chords and stuff underneath, then what we should be starting with as a baseline is this right here. Ready, go.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
So that's the bass line, and then we go to learnpianolive.com/reharm, and we see that the first two things we should do whenever we're reharming is right here, these two tiny little instructions. Add in 7s, 9s, and 6s to the chords. So this is really easy in this key because we're in the key of C, which is just all white notes. So go ahead and zoom out there if you would. I'm going to assume that everyone who's working on a reharm already knows the letter names for all of the notes. If not, then we're probably going to get lost here pretty soon. So we're playing all white notes, and so to add in 7s and 9s, you're just gonna play the regular chord plus a skip and then plus another skip after that. So this is like a C chord with a major 7 and a 9 added in. And you can do that with all the chords. So this would be the C chord, this would be the D minor chord, this would be the E minor chord, but maybe play that one instead as your 9 on the E minor, or not, whatever you think. Try them both, just play whichever one you like more. And then this would be your F, and that's all the chords for the... Sounds kind of, actually, I was going to say terrible, and then I was going to say weird, and now I'm kind of falling in love with it, actually. It's super spacey with that F sharp in there. Wow, I'm really digging this. This should have been the lesson right here. Sorry, I'm really distracted right now. Can you tell? I haven't even done anything to reharm it yet, and it already sounds super intriguing. Now, this I will point out that because the highest note is not the melody, it's not only reharmonizing the song, but also remelodicizing. We're gonna pretend like that's a word. The song and changing the melody to it. So yeah, if I played that along with the vocal track, I don't know how good that would sound because the melody's actually right down here. Let's find out though. So this along with the track would sound like this.
Sometimes in our lives,
Ooh, that's weird.
We all have pain, we all have sorrow.
Yeah, I don't think I like
that. If we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, so then I think what I'm going to do is, this is not on the list, but we've never run into this before, so I'm going to go ahead and go with it here. If you want a normal reharm, go to one of the other reharm lessons. We're going to go ahead and follow this trail here. So, like I said, if you add in the, we've got the 1, 3, the 5, and the 7, and the 9. But then that turned that melody into that. which is the melody in the key of D. So now I'm going to try to, so that I can play along with Kendra, I'm going to try to play all the same chords, but take everything down one whole step. So instead of playing a C major 9 as our first chord, I'm going to play a B flat, because B flat is a whole step away from C. A B flat major 9. Right there. Now I've got my melody as a C, which is what Kendra's going to sing, is the C, but now I've got that major 9 chord underneath it. And I think I'm going to like that one a whole lot. So my chords now would be, instead of C major, D minor, E minor, F major, now in the key of B flat, it's going to be B flat, C minor, D minor, and then E flat major. Ooh, okay, remember. Okay, so this should match better with what Kendra was doing, because now it's got all the coolness of the major 9 chords and the minor 9 chords, but also it has the melody that she's singing. I hope I can do this. Let's find out. Here we go. Track.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain. We all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
That's right. She's gonna sing that. Man, always tomorrow. Messing up the whole thing with the right notes, Kendra. All right, let's see here. What can I do? Let me point out first, in case you feel a little bit lost, what we normally do is reharm based on the chords. And so that's this first thing right here. This is the spinner that we usually use, and this tells us like what we could do for chord-based reharmonization. But there's also this wheel right here, which is melody-based reharmonization, which is what we accidentally ran into today in this exploration of the song. And then this one down here is a baseline reharmonization, which that's actually kind of what I like when I improvised that reharmonization at the very beginning of the lesson. It was kind of a baseline-based reharmonization, but this one is ending up being a melody-based reharmonization. So I'm just paying attention to the melody and trying to pick chords that go along with that. And so far we've been successful, except then she goes, always tomorrow. And that one messes with me because I'm playing in the key of B flat right there. And that one right there is not in the key of B flat. So now I gotta play a chord that's not in the key of B flat, that has a B in it. So, Kendra, if you would jump in with me here, what kind of chords do you think have a B in it? Just ignoring the key of B flat entirely. What chords would have a B in them?
How many?
Name for me some chords that have a B in them.
G major.
Oh, nice. I was expecting you to go with B first, but yes.
B too.
Absolutely. G major. Let's try a G major.
Okay.
And, oof, all right. Now a really tough question. If we want to end on a B flat, what chord would go to a B flat?
Wait, what do you mean?
If we're saying like, all right, we're going to end on a B flat, but we want to play some chord before it's going to lead really nicely into a B flat, what chord would that be? Yeah, that's an unfair question.
Wait.
We did not
What's
discuss
the
this.
4?
Okay.
Maybe?
Guess the
The 4. Oh, the 5 would be
uh-huh.
F.
The 5, yeah, would be F.
Okay.
So then what we would do is, and that's the answer to that question every time, whether you're Kendra or anybody else in the universe, what chord would lead into a blank? You're just going to go to the 5 of blank. So a B flat chord looks like this. That's the 1, the 3, and the 5. So then if you want to play a chord that's going to lead nicely into a B flat, go to the 5 of B flat, 1, 3, and 5. And that chord right there, the F chord, is going to lead nicely into the B flat. it's kind of, that's this rule up here that we never got to because I got distracted by this cool spacey sound. Play the 5 of any chord before it. So that thing right there is one of the rules.
I even wrote that down. Can't believe I didn't
Really?
get that. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
man.
I just didn't connect the dots.
Sometimes it's different in your brain than it is in practice. So yeah, that works. So then if we wanted to go to a B flat, like I do at the end of the song, I want to play all that stuff, but then end it on a B flat at the end with that C in the melody, then we would want to go to a F. So I'm going to use a polychord. I'm going to play an F chord, an F7 chord, but then like you said, I'm going to use a G here to make sure we get that B in there. So I'm going to play a G chord on top of an F chord, 2 of them at the same time. It's in one of our spinners here, trust me. This thing right here might sound terrible right now. It might sound terrible later too. We'll find out. But so that F chord with that G, I'm liking that more and more the more I listen to it, especially in the context of all this spaciness. So that's gonna be our ending. Always tomorrow. We'll see if it works. We're gonna try an F chord, a G chord over an F chord. In actuality, it's just an F7 with a 9 and like a sharp 11 and a 13. So it's not that weird of a chord, but it looks like when you play it like that, it looks super weird because it looks like a G chord and an F chord, which shouldn't go together, and it doesn't. It clashes quite nicely. So then, here we go. We're gonna try our major 9 thing at the beginning. And then at the end, we're going to try that. I'm really liking this one. This is cool.
That's
all right.
awesome.
Okay, so with the track, I think track Kendra is not going to hang out on that B as long as I want, because I think I want a lot of suspense. Always to... Ooh. That didn't work as well as I thought. That's what I wanted. Okay. I'll show you what I did in a second. But first, let's just try the regular thing. We added all the 9s. We transpose it so that it would fit the melody, because now we're doing a melody-based reharmonization instead of a chord-based reharmonization. And then at the very end, we're going to use a F chord because it leads nicely into the B flat. And we're going to use a G chord on top of that because the G chord has that B in it. Okay, here we go.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, man, okay. Cool. So then the other thing that I did was another like polychord thing that's not really a polychord. The weirdness of this one is that guy right there. And if we compare that to the F chord and we say, what is that in the F chord? The answer is it's a sharp 11. So we've got the F chord with the 7 and the 9, and then this one is the sharp 11 because that'd be the regular 11. So that's the sharp 11, and that's the thing that makes this thing sound super spacey and like whole tone-y. So that's that sharp 11. So then what I did was, to make that sound less out of place, I added a sharp 11 into my last chord, which is B flat, major, 9, and then that would be the sharp 11, because that one's normally the note that's in the key of B flat. It's usually got an E flat in it, but now I'm going to put this sharp 11 in it. So now I've got 2 sharp 11 chords right next to each other. So we'll try that and see if that helps out with some of that resolution there. So it's not, this isn't the only sharp 11 chord in there. And it sounds kind of spacey all the way through. I don't know if it'll help, but I think it will. Let's try it.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise,
like the way that I played that at the end. I don't think I played that. I think I played a major. Always to tomorrow. Yeah, that might work too, actually. It shouldn't, but that's that same sharp 11 from it's that same E natural. I might actually like that. Yeah, cool. Sometimes the best notes are the ones that you messed up on, as long as you don't avoid them and you just go back and explore the mistakes. Those are some of the best stuff. Okay, we'll try it. All right, I've got lots of other ideas, but we'll just try what we've done so far. Here we go. This we still have the beginner thing on here, so this is not a beginner lesson at all. I don't know. This is like an intermediate lesson. Go ahead and let's switch it. There we go. Yeah, cool. And actually, yeah, we're probably almost to the end of our reharm since this is already super weird. So let's go ahead and change it to advanced, and yeah, we're gonna call this advanced. There we go. And we'll start back at the beginning and see what this thing ends up being, and maybe we'll try a couple other things to see what else we could run into. But this was a really happy accident, as some people would say. Here we go.
Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
I think I like that, just like that. I would want to slow it down, but we could do it without Kendra. Sorry, Kendra. Now, right here, I would want to change something that seems too predictable to me. So I'd want something else to get back into that B flat right there. So I'm going to change that here in just a second. That's speaking to me. So this other thing, we want something else to get into that B flat. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here and recommend a baseline-based reharmonization, which just means take a look at what your left hand is doing, the lowest note in your left hand. Is what our left hand is currently playing. But I've got that one part in there where I want to get into that B flat. So then right here, I've basically got two opportunities for a chord there, but I want to not do that. Instead, I want to do something else that's going to lead me. Now, this is already leading back to the B flat. So if I was just taking a look at the bass line, that's a nice smooth transition right there already. But I want something that's going to be a little bit more compelling of a draw into that B flat. So my melody, I'm going to take that in consideration because we're going to go sorrow. So we need a E and a D. And I want to lead into the B flat. So then couple things we could do. Okay, baseline-based reharmonization. If we just went half steps instead of whole steps, instead of going D minor, C minor, B flat, we could go C, B, B flat. But we have these notes. So then those chords that we could have would be something with an E and a C in it. We could play a C chord right there. And then something with a D and a B in it. We could play like a B alt chord right there, like a B7 chord that had a sharp 9 in it, a B7 sharp 9, and maybe a flat 13 as well. That'd be cool. So I could go C7 and then B alt B7 with a sharp 9. That I don't know if I'm gonna like that or not. Let's see. Nah, I don't like it. This one, I mean, it technically works. C7 to B alt to B flat major. I think in another context, I might really, really like that. In this context, not so much. I don't know why. It just doesn't sound good. So to me, so I'm gonna change it. I think going from having so many C minors in there, and then going to like a C major. I think that's what I'm not liking about it. However, it frequently happens that I play something that I really hate, and then if I go off of it, I'll find out something else that I like a lot more. But if I stay on it, sometimes I can just fall in love with it. Sometimes the part that I don't like about it is that what I'm hearing isn't matching my expectations. So then I just need to change. I need to play it enough times that I change my expectations. So I'm gonna try this a few more times, and I might end up falling in love with it because then it won't clash with my expectations. Or maybe I was right and it just sounds horrible. We'll find out. Yeah, I don't like that. If that went from a B to an E minor or something, I don't know. This one sounds too like alt, scary kind of. Yeah, I'm not digging that. But I want something else. So maybe we could go, instead of going down to B flat, looking back at the bass line again. Instead of going down to the B flat, maybe I could come up to the B flat. So maybe something like that with whole steps, or with half steps, or within the key. These would all be optional bass lines to lead into that B flat. We could try that, or that. So then we all have, and then the first one would be saw rose. But I don't know, maybe. So I like that a lot, actually. That sounds kind of spacey too, isn't it? Like we already have that theme going on, that spaciness. We all have. I don't even know what the chord that is. That's crazy. It looks to me like an F sharp major 7 with a lowered 7. There's surely a name for that. I don't know what it is. Do I hate that or do I love that? Maybe I'm just wanting an F sharp. Yeah, maybe I just want an F sharp dominant. No, I don't. I don't want the 7 in there. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna try that and see if that works. Yeah, let's go ahead and try that with the track, actually. We're gonna go. That's what I'm gonna try in that space. Okay, cool. So we're still, in my mind, I'm still thinking about the bass line going into that B flat. That's the only part that I really want to change. Here we go.
Sometimes in our lives,
This is fast.
we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I could just end it right there. So it's like the scale that I want to use there is like a C alt scale, or a what is that? F sharp Lydian dominant scale, if I'm thinking of it in terms of F. Or the more common way to put that would be like a C sharp melodic minor. Those are all the same scale. Or C, alt scale, or F sharp, Lydian dominant. Anyway, those are the notes I would use there. And then an A flat major. And then we're back into B flat. That's really interesting to me. Okay. So then I want to come back and play more of that because I'm really digging that. But real quick, I want to show you the other two options that I said earlier that might work, and maybe I'll like them better and get distracted by that. So moving up to the B flat by half steps. So instead of coming up by whole steps, coming up by half steps. So we all have saw, rose, but. So then that would be something like, I don't know, saw, rose. What is that going to be? Saw, rose, but. I don't think I like that as much, but I'm really distracted by that other one. I want to go back and explore that. Saw, rose, but. And then the other one would be coming up from the G. Saw, rose, but. And that could be like, man, saw, rose, but. Saw, rose, but. Saw, rose, but. I don't think I like any of those, but I honestly don't know if I like them or not, because I just want to go back and do that other thing. Ooh, and because that's the melody, I'd have to play that note in my scale too. So the thing I said before about being A flat major would be wrong because I'd have that one. So maybe I think I like that note too. So just A flat Lydian. So I'd have F sharp, and then A flat, Lydian, and then B flat. One more time. What was that? I think I'm kind of digging that. I'm just going to go with that. We didn't really look at any of the sheet music, but that's the way it goes sometimes. You just run into cool stuff like that. So just to review here, some of the stuff that we talked about. Great. Kendra, can you help me out with this? So we added 7s and 9s.
Yes.
And that was cool. And then we got distracted and didn't do any more chord-based reharmonization. We did 7s and 9s all the way through, but then my melody was clashing with the melody that you were singing, so then I had to transpose it to the key of B flat so that your melody would stay the same. And then what else stood out to you? What else?
Did you do passing diminished chord stuff?
We didn't.
We did not.
No.
Okay. I saw it on the wheel. And then I was like, later I was like, are we not?
We're not doing passing diminished.
Okay.
So then let's see here. We did polychords where we built a chord on top of a chord, an F chord with a G chord, because you wanted the G chord for the melody. And as it turns out, I liked that a whole lot. And then what else did we do?
I heard you say sharp 11s and
Sharp 11s.
all kinds of different numbers.
Yeah, I did say all kinds of different numbers. So the sharp 11 thing is like if you go to the 4 of the key and you just make that sharp. So like in the key of C, 1, 2, 3, 4, then that'd be the sharp 11 right there, just sharpening the 4 or the 11. And that gave us that kind of spacey feel on the F. And then in order to keep that spacey feel, I added in that sharp 11 on the B flat. Yeah, and then we talked about some alt chords. We didn't like the B alt. I didn't like the B alts. And instead we talked about bass line stuff. So we tried to go down by half steps to the B flat. I didn't like that. Then we came up by whole steps to the B flat. I did like that one. We also tried up by half steps in the bass line and up by according to the key in up to that B flat. And the one I stuck with was up by whole steps. And then we just tried to match the melody, not conflict with the melody, and then add a bass line that was nice, and that way the melody worked itself out and the bass line worked itself out, and then we just had to fill in the chords in the middle. And that is.
And did you already say the 5s that you were doing?
Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. So then, good call. So the answer to what would lead well into X is always the 5 of X. So what would lead it well into a B flat? The 5 of B flat, and you could get to that just by playing the chord and then going 1, 3, 5, and playing the 5, the chord that's built off of the 5. And so an F will usually lead well into a B flat. A B flat will lead well into whatever B flat is the 5 of, which is E flat. So 1, 3, 5, B flat chord leads well into E flat. And that's called the circle of fifths or the circle of fourths, depending on who you learned it from. And that's a whole other.
I haven't heard the term circle of fourths.
What?
Heard circle of fifths many times, but
okay.
Circle of fourths is.
Fine. All right.
I'm assuming it's a similar.
No. Yeah. Whatever. All right. So then, so we just said. We're never getting out of this lesson. But yeah, you ask a teacher and there, here we go. So for the next half hour, what we're gonna discuss is, the F chord leads into a B flat, right? And that is obviously a 5th away because it is the 5 of B flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And so going from F to B flat is undoubtedly a 5th. And there's no other way to look at it unless you look at it differently, but going from an F up to a B flat, that's a 4th. So this is a perfect 4th up. F to B flat is a perfect 4th away. F to B flat is a perfect 5th away. So then if you have a circle that says F to B flat and you ask a room of students, what interval is that? Half of them are going to say a perfect 4th and half of them are going to say a perfect 5th, and they all get 100% on their test. So some people refer to the circle of 5ths as their circle of 4ths because it's the same exact circle, just depending on whether you're thinking up or whether you're thinking down.
Wow.
And then you get to Jacob Collier, who is not Jamin Collier. But if you confuse the two, I'm perfectly fine with that because he's a genius. And then he gets into like the difference between like going clockwise through the circle of fourths or circle of fifths versus like a counterclockwise. So then it makes a difference because you're either talking about endings that sound like this or endings that sound like this. And so that's the difference between like going one way in the circle of fourths or circle of fifths and going the other way in the circle of fourths or fifths. So then in that case, then it does matter which one you're doing. I would call this the circle of fourths. And that's like a really pretty like smooth landing into a C, whereas this one like that's a really hard landing, like bam, when you hit the end, like it feels like you really landed on that C still. It just depends on like whether you're wanting to sneak into your ending, going through the circle of fourths, or whether you're wanting to like make it very definite and compelling and use the circle of fifths.
That's awesome.
So then I think that's like the 6th lesson we've taught so far tonight. So I'm going to shut up at this point and let you ask your questions that you have on any of the stuff that we talked about here. Or if you just wish that we would have done the normal reharm on this, then maybe we could do that too. Or whatever it is you're interested in working on. Let's take one of the concepts that we talked about tonight and apply it to whatever song you're wanting to do. Maybe it's just sharp 11s or just the 5 of a chord. Whatever it is that you're interested in and almost made sense to you, then let's do that thing. If it did make sense to you, then just apply that on your own. But wherever you got questions, then ask away. And wherever you're playing songs, explore, mess up, have fun, rock on.